Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals just like you come to learn the most efficient and powerful ways to grow their firm, sharpen their sales skills, and have consistent increasing revenue. We cover topics from sales, networking, handling objections, negotiation, pricing, finding those ideal clients, and how to get rid of the ones that just don't suit you and how to set those boundaries so you can stop giving away your time, working for free, putting yourself on sale, and really start to get paid for the value and the worth that you bring to your clients. You'll learn tips, strategies, as well as hear others from personal interviews from successful accounting professionals. This podcast will show you exactly how to create the firm and life of your dreams full of abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. Our special guest is an author, speaker, trainer, master hypnotist, and master of neuro-linguistic programming. For the last 30 years, he's taught tens of thousands of people the power of language to persuade, influence, sell, heal, and turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones. But before we welcome our special guest to the show, if you're an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner and you want to stop trading time for dollars and let go of overly demanding clients and get paid based on the value and the worth you provide and increase your revenue, here's what I've got for you. Here at The Abundant Accountant, I'll show you a system on how to fill your firm with ideal clients who not only value your time so you can catapult your firm to the next level and only work the hours you want to work, but still have plenty of free time for your family and yourself. And not only that, we're going to show you how to do all of this in a way that feels simple, effortless, and automatic. If you want me to show you exactly how to do this, go to theabundantcall.com and book a call with me and my team. Once again, that's theabundantcall.com. We look forward to speaking to some of you. And now let's welcome Paul Ross to the show. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you, Michelle. Always a pleasure to be here and to be addressing your wonderful audience. And I know as they continue to listen today, I'm not sure all the points they may stop. I feel a growing sense of excitement, only as fast as they recognize something amazing.
Awesome. Well, before we dive in, for those that do not know you, why don't you share 30 seconds of who you are and why you're here today? Just, I've already done your bio, but I always think it's best to come from you.
Sure. So I am a hypnotist with 34 years experience who's taken everything I know about hypnotherapy and am now applying it to sales with my new book, The Subconscious Sales Advantage. And I am here today to talk about information versus transformation and the implementation gap. Yes.
And I am very excited to talk about this because I hear from so many firm owners, accounting, tax, and bookkeeping firm owners that we work with that, I just need more leads coming into my firm. And, of course, who doesn't want more leads and more clients? But the problem is, what good are those leads if they don't become clients, right? So what good are those clients if we lowball prices and just don't get them on board in our firm? So basically, why I want to talk about this, Paul, especially with you, is because every day I talk to frustrated accounting, tax, and bookkeeping firm owners that leave thousands of dollars on the table and are just told to, do another program or just learn another skill set or another program, yet promises them more revenue in their firm, but they were never taught how to actually turn leads into clients and learn how to convert and close those clients. And until you learn that skill set, just another program, learning CFO services, learning tax resolution is not going to move the needle. And I think a lot of those programs are just a lot of information that they don't provide transformational results or teach you a skill set like what you and I do, where when we learn the art of enrollment, we can increase the firm revenue at a very rapid pace instead of a snail's pace. So very excited to have you here because just too many other programs are promising the world and there's no accountability. There is, I think, what you're going to talk about, what is an information gap. So maybe we could actually start with that. And what will help a firm owner get the, needle moving in the forward correct direction.
Absolutely. So I would ask some rhetorical questions of your audience. Obviously, they're not here with me live, but they can write down the answer on a piece of paper or just say it out loud. So, and I can ask you, Michelle, on the topics of losing weight, finding love, and getting rich, how many millions of copies of books, audio series, online courses, not different titles, but actual copies have been sold, downloaded, etc., ballpark in the last year in the United States alone?
In the last year?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I've never looked it up. What is it?
Got to be at least 50 to 60 million. So why don't we see 50 to 60 million skinny, rich people with their ideal partner? Something's wrong. And it's not entirely about the information. Some of the information is quite good. But in between the information and the implementation, there's a big gap. And I want to go into what that gap is, speaking as an expert on the unconscious or subconscious mind, because I am a hypnotist and I use those terms interchangeably. It doesn't matter which of those terms you use. For the purposes of this show, this episode, we'll say subconscious. So the subconscious mind and the conscious mind are often in conflict. The conscious mind may think, oh, I'm absorbing this information. I can go do it. I deserve to do it. But the subconscious mind may be saying, I'm really not good at this. I can't learn to do this. The subconscious mind is a storehouse of past memories. So it'll remember all the times you failed at all the other programs you tried. And consciously, you may be thinking, I can do this. But subconsciously, the subconscious has all these memories of the times you picked up a program, you didn't get proper accountability or guidance like you do in your program, which is crazy amount of value that you provide. And so you come into a conflict. Now, here's a law of the mind that I made up. In any fight, any struggle, any battle between the conscious and the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind is always going to win. So what happens is people have the following things that get in the way, that stand in between the information and the implementation. Now, of course, there's accountability. That's why they need a coach. And I would also argue that you're a teacher and a trainer as well.
Yeah, of course. And I want to share a scenario because this is one that's brought up pretty consistently. And I literally just got this email today. So can we use this story in your conversation today if I share it with you? Because it's just so real. Okay. So I'm not going to name any names, but this is a firm owner with over 15 years of accounting and bookkeeping experience with a bachelor's of science in finance and also has an MBA and has attended a lot of our information sessions, webinars, or I've been doing some hot seat coaching. Also has had an enrollment call. But the problem is that they spent $6,000 on a bookkeeping accounting program and didn't get anything out of it, is what they state. And says, they still owe, I don't know, $5,500 and are calling it credit card debt. So the subconscious is calling that debt versus an investment in their business. So they are not going to be able to spend any additional money to invest in themselves as a beginner business owner. But anyone starting a business, in my mind, has to have startup capital and be willing to invest to grow it, market, learn different things, software, right? Okay. And says they don't have the liquidity, but there are plenty of lines of credits and things you can get at banks. Yeah. So, and then they said this, well, I really want to be in your program. And when I get my first client or sale, then I will pay the program fee and take it out of my revenue. I just laughed. I'm like, are you kidding me? So you want me to teach you something for free and then you'll pay me later? That is not how this works at all. Right? And this person has had their business for over a year with no clients. Right? It gets better because, this person had a call with my team and them and their wife. And basically, what I responded with and what we can talk about, because I think this is, like you said, the information gap or the difference between implementation information. This person's had plenty of information for the last year, hasn't done anything, and hasn't gotten one client. But you're asking me to bet on you, but you're not willing to bet on yourself. And I like to say, if you're starting a new firm, I get it feels scary at times. And especially if you have to finance and make a huge investment on yourself. But in order to learn how to convert prospects into paying clients and have sales conversations with confidence, because that's the sales process, and without sales, you don't have a business. I call that being a wantrepreneur versus being a true entrepreneur. And the entrepreneurs are the ones willing to gamble on themselves, who believe in themselves first and foremost, and are willing to take the risk, because that is what a true fearless entrepreneur really is. And those are the people that have successful firms. So how can we tie this in, because we hear this story so often, into the problem of all this other information and programs out there, but they're not getting results. And I hear this time and time again. People have spent $20,000, $30,000 on other things and never saw an ROI until they met me.
Yep, I hear it too. Believe me, I hear it too. Look, here's the thing. When people give me this kind of objection, and one of the things I teach in my own sales courses and when I train people is a reframe. And I like to say, when people say, I can't find the money or I don't have the money, I say, one of the richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, once said, once you see the vision, you can always find the money. So maybe it's not about whether you can afford it or not. Maybe it's about having the vision to see, if you don't invest in yourself, how is this ever going to change? Because you'll just keep getting information and never implementing it. In fact, this is the only bridge that you're ever going to walk that will take you to the other side that you really deserve. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I do, Michelle, is in a lot of my persuasive languaging when I'm dealing with a client or a customer or in a negotiation is to use metaphor. I use the metaphor of finding a vision. So I make it's no longer about money. It's about finding your vision, and that you, Michelle, are the bridge from where they are to where they know they have to get. That's the first thing, using metaphor.
Yeah, I like to share with clients, and tell me what you think if it goes along with your metaphor. But it's like, you're in pain and frustrated island, like this prospect that continues to reach out for help and won't bet on themselves. Is frustrated, spent money, wasted a year, and still has no clients. That would really suck, considering you have an MBA and you have all this experience, but none of that matters unless you can enroll clients. So you're on Pain Island, and we here are the bridge, or like you said, the bridge, I'm going to say the boat, to take you to Pleasure Island. But Pleasure Island has to be, like you said, their vision, or like what Warren Buffett said, right? You have to see the vision before you can find the money, because otherwise it's just like, oh, well, that's a nice to have. I wish I could have my own business, but I'm going to just stay in my 9-to-5 job because it's comfortable. I have a paycheck every 2 weeks, so I don't have to do anything.
Well, first of all, can I confess something? I made up that quote, but it works. Someone said it. I don't know whether
I loved it.
Oh, well, you can steal it. I don't know whether Warren Buffett said it or not, but it sounds someone said it.
We'll just say that it's not his quote. This is Paul Ross.
It's the power of authority. Look, what people need to understand, whether they're established in their business or they've been going for a long time and they're tired of just barely moving the needle,
yes,
et cetera, is it's like, I don't care how well you're doing, to step into something that's new and fully commit to it is like doing a startup. There's going to be some uncertainty in the beginning. One of the things I learned from my meditation teacher, Shinzen Young, the greatest teacher I've ever met, even more than my NLP teacher, Richard Bandler, is that uncertainty and confusion are the things that stop people even more than fear. Mm-hmm. So if you've had bad experiences and your unconscious mind is saying, I failed, I failed, I failed, I failed, I'm going to fail again, you need someone like you, Michelle, who's going to say, look at these results I got for all these clients. Many of them were in your position. What they had in common is they were willing to take that step and invest in myself. You're not saying yes to me. You're saying yes to yourself. So the question is, how is any of this going to change if you do anything other than say yes? And then I do STFU, which I won't say on your show, but the first three words are shut the bleep up. And I let the client or the prospective client talk.
Mm.
And so we really need to understand the difference. If you're out there and you're sitting on the fence, if you don't do something radically different, then you're not going to implement. You'll be stuck in the land of wishing instead of the land of enjoying. You need to take a step. And then second, I think to make sure that you actually execute, you need accountability and you need community. We as entrepreneurs, even with the best of intentions and the best of discipline, I consider you to be one of the top three most disciplined entrepreneurs I know. You just are, accept the compliment, and there you go. We are going to have down days. We're going to have days where everything sucks. We're going to have days, even weeks, where our revenue is down and we can't figure it out. And we need coaches, we need encouragement, we need accountability, we need community. I know I need it. I know you need it. So this is the other advantage, not even advantage, the necessity of having someone who's walked the path. Someone said to me, my mentor, Greg Reed, said to me, wise men seek counsel. Foolish men seek opinions. Counsel comes from people who have walked the path. Opinions come from anyone who can flap their lips. There's a saying in Alcoholics Anonymous, opinions are like bleep. Everyone has one. So I'm centering myself for the sensibilities of your audience.
Yeah. No, and I think, like you said, the wise man seeks counsel, but I think it just goes back to what you were saying originally. If you don't have the vision of your why, then, and you can't see it, nothing will ever happen. And, what would you say is a way that you've thought about it for yourself when you think of your vision or working with clients to help them see that? So if you're listening today and wonder why your business isn't thriving and you've been doing this for a really long time, or you've been stuck, or you're just starting and you can't quit your job, you're just too terrified and like married and slaving away for someone else, and you're married to that paycheck that you get every 2 weeks. And all of these things just never change. And every year you say you're going to do something different, or, you're like what you were saying in the beginning, Paul. Why are there not 50 to 60 million skinny, rich people with their ideal partner? It just doesn't happen, right? But some of them might have a vision, but how do you coach people into creating their vision? Because I think that's the underlying root cause for many, firm owners or just business owners in general. If you're stuck, frustrated, and then you start to deal with anxiety, depression, and all the other things that come along with it.
Well, embedded in your question is the idea that there's one way. I think there's multiple ways. Some people, for example, can visualize. I'm not one of these people, by the way. I know we're personal friends as well. So I know you do vision boards. First of all, I'm real sloppy with art. I can't put anything together, and vision boards never do anything for me. But I do know. So you can do something visually if you're motivated visually. You can, if it serves you better, and this is what serves me better, is every day I remind myself of my purpose. What is my purpose for being here, or multiple purposes? And how does my success in business serve my purpose? And that way I ask myself, when I go to make a decision, I say, is this serving my purpose? Is this in an alignment with what I value? Or just for an example, some people may want to make $1 million a year just to prove to their parents that they could do it when their parents said they'd amount to nothing. Some people may want to make the $1 million because that's what it takes even to live comfortably. Like that won't even will hardly suffice you here. And I live in San Diego. That will hardly suffice you here. Some people want to do it because it gives them the money to donate and change the world. So you can have a vision, like actually visualize it in your mind. I'm not particularly good at that, but there's some people who are, and I coach them with it with hypnosis and other things. There's doing the exploration of finding out what your values are. And then there's the magic question. The magic question is if you woke up 5 years from now and you had all your dreams fulfilled, all your goals had been reached, what would be there that's not currently there? What would you be able to say about yourself that right now you can't? And why would it make a difference to the people who love you and the world at large? So those are the techniques that I personally teach my clients. Not just a matter of numbers are important. Do not get me wrong. I know that you can do spreadsheets. I have a bookkeeper who's just called me when the episode, so something's either right or wrong. She just called me when this episode started. So the bottom line here is there's multiple ways to do it, but it all comes back to this. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Mm-hmm. It's up to you to take the step, make the change, because there's only one. I don't have a guarantee for success. I have a guarantee for I don't like the word failure, but we'll use it. I have a guarantee for failure, particularly in times of struggle, like we're currently going through. This episode is being recorded towards the end of July 2024. I don't know when people will listen to it. But in times of hardship, especially, or when you've had setbacks, it takes a lot of courage to take that big step. But the alternative is a guarantee of failure. If you really want to fail, dwell on your mistakes. Don't bet on yourself. Let the voices of I can't or I never will or other people did it and it was easy for them. That's the other one that stops people. Comparison and the envy that comes from it. Oh, this person is doing so much better. What's the point? And anyway, they don't deserve it. I deserve it. Envy, entitlement. These are even more powerful blocks than being afraid, than being uncertain. So learning to get past all this, the fastest way to do it, Michelle, is to enroll with someone like you. You've been through all these struggles. And Michelle, you're my friend, one of my best friends. You got a great heart as well as being a brilliant human. You mean what you say, and I've seen you. You're utterly devoted to getting your clients results. This is not a game for you, and it's not just about nothing wrong with saying money. It's not solely for the money on your part. It means a lot to you to get results.
Oh yeah, and I think like you were saying, there's a guarantee for failure, but if you were, and I've been asked this quite a bit, well, Michelle, what if you help me, what's your guarantee? And what I found to be very true and interesting is when people ask that, it's like you're your own guarantee. If you don't do the work or do the things like Paul's saying, you're not going to get results. You're just going to keep, dwelling on mistakes. You're going to keep saying, I can't do this or that didn't work, so nothing's going to change. And, I think the real question is because for so many people, we have hundreds of testimonials. I could give you all the testimonials and all the guarantees in the world of people that I've taught the art of enrollment to learn how to convert and close their clients with confidence. And this is what I want to get into with you. When you do something different, that's an act of courage, which requires transformation. And so I'm here to say, I'll help you walk over the bridge of fear, or like you said earlier, it wasn't even fear, it was something else.
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty. That's right. Yes, uncertainty. And one other thing you said.
I said uncertainty, envy,
And the
and
confusion,
and
the
confusion.
confusion is even larger than the fear.
Yes,
But
yes,
what I
absolutely.
say is if you just show up 100%, I only see people get results. So I think the real question that someone here listening needs to say, if you're sick and tired of the way things have been going, and you're like my uh, person who emailed me today, sharing, well, I'll pay you after I get a sale. Yeah, right. Nice try.
No, they won't.
It's like going to Vegas. Can I pay you my $1,000 after I win my blackjack or poker? No,
No,
you
no.
know. And I think what I want to talk about is what is the difference that you see, Paul, about transformation versus people just getting more information from
Yes, this is,
books or
well,
YouTube videos or
yes, yes,
webinars. I mean, I think a
yes.
webinar is great. And yes, I can
Mhm.
transform the mindset or how you think about something, but it's not going to change your whole business.
Well, here's an interesting, and I love when we talk because I remember the first interview we ever did, and we had a perfect chemistry, not that way. We had a chemistry on the podcast because you have a way of reining in my answers and say, no, no, let's get back to the topic. So I will tell you that transformation in and of itself says a lot, that word. If you spell it TRANCE hyphen formation, to create, to awaken from the trance of needing a guarantee, awaken from the trance of dwelling on failures, awaken from the trance that says everyone else did it and it was easy for them. Awakening from those pathological trances that keep us blocked is what creates transformation. It's not just putting in the positive. It's really truly, like the old song says, depowering or eliminating the negative, is to see all that stuff coming up. And I have a simple solution. I used to say meditate, and I still believe in meditating, but a lot of people don't have time. Whenever these thoughts come up, I see a picture of my iPhone with the phone call coming in and it says scam likely. So when
Oh,
you
that's
have,
funny.
isn't that funny? But it's true. It works. Every time those old thoughts of ND or I can't do it, or I don't want to, or I'm too lazy, or what's the point? I see that scam likely, scam likely, scam likely. So we disempower it and we want to create a trance, not just of courage, which is important, but a trance of wonder and a trance of joy. What's even better than courage is joy and wonder, to think to yourself, I wonder what's really possible for me as I step out of my own way and embrace what could be. I wonder what's really possible for me as I step out of my own way and embrace what could be. Now, those are powerful words. The unconscious mind reacts to words like possible. I wonder what's possible for me as I step out of my own way and embrace what's possible. Embrace, possible, wonder. These are all what I call trance words. They induce a trance. I don't want to get into any further into the technical details of hypnosis because I know you will wag your virtual finger at me and go, no, no, stick to the topic. But using language in the proper way, language structures consciousness, shapes decisions, drives behavior. So paying attention to how you language things is incredibly powerful. Using your language, you can create a trance that does not serve you, or you can awaken from that and step into a trance that does serve you. Put on a view of the world that doesn't guarantee, because there's no guarantees. Anything could happen tomorrow. Anything can happen in the next hour. When people say you're really old, I'm not that old. I say, hey, we're all only one heartbeat away from eternity. If you're listening to this, guess what? You're one heartbeat away from eternity. I don't care how young or how old you are by the calendar. So keeping that in mind, what trance do you want to create for yourself? And once you're in the right one, you have to ask yourself, okay, I'm in the right space. I'm ready. I believe in the possibility. Who's going to take the possibility and transform it into a probability, and from the probability, make it into reality? And that's where someone like you comes in, who provides the actual training and the accountability. Now, I'm just going to say it. I know how you work. It's a lot of effort to do your program. You give homework and you kick people in the butt. You just do. It's lovingly done. You don't do it. I don't think you have a mean bone in your body. Not that I've seen in the 6 years I've known you. Maybe you do. I just and you've been hiding it from me. And so, yeah, it's true, Michelle. You know that
It's
about
like
yourself.
tough love, you know?
Yeah, tough one. Well, my career, I won't talk about my former career because it's not relevant, but I had to kick some butt there too.
Yeah, but back to topic. When you say you have to find, the trance of wonder and joy, it also goes back to the first thing we were talking about, which is the vision you have for yourself. Because if you don't have the vision, then your business won't move forward, the firm will stay stuck. Or if you're a new firm owner, you're never going to attract a new client. You're going to repel them. It's almost like the subconscious is repelling everything for that
I
one
believe that to be true.
person that I was sharing with you. If someone even, I mean, just for someone to have the nerve to ask, hey, I want to do your program and then I'll pay you after I get the first sale.
Hey,
Like, you should be embarrassed about yourself.
actually, that level of shamelessness, if they applied it to their selling capability, they would be wealthy instead of trying to talk themselves out of
Right.
your help. If they had took that same shamelessness and applied it to their selling acumen, they'd be doing quite well.
Yeah. Well, and I think another problem is that when you make a request like that, you're basically saying that you would be willing to do business like that for your clients. And that is not how to operate a business.
No, no.
It's like, hey, yeah, I'll do your accounting and bookkeeping for free. And then when you get enough money after you pay everybody else and your payroll and your rent, then you can pay me later. It's like, I don't even think a business like that exists out there.
No,
Yeah.
I don't either.
And
I,
and and the fact that this person has had a business for over a year and has no clients, there that just goes to show you that you need not only to awaken from your negative trance, or what did you call that, where you're dwelling from your
pathological trance.
pathological trance, where you're dwelling from all your failures, but it's keeping that person so blocked that they're almost oblivious to the reality that
They
they're
are
in.
oblivious. It's not almost. They are
Oh,
oblivious.
yeah.
No, they're absolutely oblivious. And I think not paying attention to where your current path is going to take you is hardwired into the brain. I'll just take 30, please give me 30 seconds to sidestep.
Sure.
30 seconds is all I'll take. We are hardwired for short-term pleasure. That's just the way we're
Mm.
hardwired, to get that dopamine hit as quickly as we can. So it takes a mature, intelligent, and adult mind to say, wait a minute, I can put off the pleasure. I don't need it right away. I can do something with a structure, with a teacher, to get this reward and to make the reward as real as the work. When you can make the reward as real as the work or even more, or, and this is a hypnotic technique we don't have time to discuss, if you program the unconscious mind so that every step you take, you have a little bit of that dopamine hit from the final reward, then you create a pretty amazing motivation strategy. We don't have time to go into that. That's a whole nother episode. And that would be an example of Paul distracting Michelle from getting her
Yeah.
message across.
Well, I mean, you know, and some people, back to information and transformation, the implementation gap and the information gap. It's, and I don't know what your thought is on this, but when someone says, oh, I just need more information, or I'm going to do more, webinars, or I'm going to read more books, like you were saying with your weight loss or the get rich people or finding love, I think the real question back to, the confused mind and the uncertainty and the fear, it's like a lack of decision making,
Right. I
right?
agree.
Like,
I agree. Well,
so,
you're always making a decision, whether you know it or not. I'm going to play with words a little bit here
okay.
because that's my job. You're always making a decision. You're making a decision to move backwards, stand still, move ahead, or dodge. Those are your options. You can stand still, which is kind of moving backwards in today's crazy age. You can stand still, move backwards, move forwards, or dodge, or you could call it duck. So the only thing that really works is moving forward. We're only getting more competitive. People have shorter attention spans and getting more info. One of the biggest mistakes people can think is if they just get more data into their mind, that translates into skills, which translates into money. No, it doesn't. You can have data, data, data. Listen, I know people with PhD in economics who are broke, who have to scramble to put dollars together, put food on the table. They know far more about how economies work than you do, or I do, or any, I think, three or four people that we know. We have run in the same circle of friends, but they don't know how it works in the real world. They have far more information.
Yeah,
Information,
too much information.
too much information. So just because you have data in your head doesn't mean you have skills that you can implement. I'll tell you something else. I teach this everywhere I go. Whether it's $1 million VIPs or speaking on small stage, it doesn't matter. If you let your internal dialogue, that internal voice, be the architect of your life, you're going to live in a small world. The only way you build a big world is through letting your actions, your experiments in the world determine what happens. I have a dear friend, my dear friend Gina, who's a dietitian, and she says, be your own research project. But research implies that you take steps into the world. And every researcher has someone who approves the research. So I would say be your own research project and have the right guide with you as you're doing that. And in fact, don't be a researcher, be someone who goes and executes. If you don't, there's a reason why they call them executives, right? The word execute is in there.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Like if you're going to be a chief executive officer of your firm or whatever, any executive, you have to execute.
You have to
And I think
execute.
that's where the difference is lying inside that between the information and the implementation gap, because execution is implementation.
I heard a Navy SEAL
Uh-huh.
on this Navy SEAL was on an Instagram reel. He said, my job was to breach the door. When we were going into a terrorist compound, someone would put the explosive on, and my job was to yell, execute, 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 and then to blow the explosive charge. And he said, if I didn't do that job, everyone on my team would die. And he said, when
Wow.
you don't execute, I'm serious. He said, when you don't execute, you're letting down your family, you're letting down your friends, you're letting down yourself. You got to execute. Now, this is coming from someone who risked his life constantly on missions that he can never talk about. But he said, execute. He was the guy who told everyone he was executing, and so it was okay for them to charge in through that door.
Yeah, and I think that is what people want. We don't want to let our family and friends down, and when you don't execute, you are letting them down. You're letting them down by, working 80 hours a week and being stressed out every single tax season and not being there for your kids. I was just on the phone with a woman who is working 80 hours and just had an 8-month-old baby and doesn't have time. And we are always, like you said, if you don't execute and make these changes, it doesn't matter how much expertise you have. You'll just be like your guy of economics with a PhD who is, barely making it in life. And I think, like you said, we have to execute. And
PhD stands for, Michelle, PhD stands for piled higher and deeper.
yeah, but if you want to be the CEO of your firm, that word is in your title, or, founder or CEO. That's all the same thing, or partner in a lot of firms. It doesn't matter. They're executors. They're the rainmakers. They're the ones bringing in the business. And I think that's like the key element. So thank you for sharing that, Paul. Is there anything else that you want to share about information and the implementation gap?
I only want to say one thing.
Okay.
I've known you 6 years. I've seen your devotion, your dedication to your clients. And I know that you are the most, honestly, Michelle, in every level of life, you're the most resilient human being I know. That's why I admire you so much, and why you really are. That's why I'm your friend. That, and because I love your dog. Don't be mad at me for saying that. Okay, are you going to edit that out, or can we leave that
No,
in?
I
Okay.
don't edit anything really.
Okay, cool. And really, if you want to make a difference, uh, enroll in Michelle's program. Michelle is the best. I've seen her work. I've seen her devotion. I've seen her dedication. She is the hardest working and most caring entrepreneur I know. And I just say enroll in Michelle's program. If you'd like to have a look at my latest book for free, you can download it. Go to paulrossbook.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, Paul. And if you are listening and you're an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner, and you want to create your new trance and start executing and stop trading time for dollars and let go of overly demanding clients and get back your time and freedom and spend time with your family, here's what I've got for you. The Abundant Accountant empowers firm owners to not only build thriving practices through our sales training program, but also gain the skills and strategies that you will implement. An implementation gap will be gone, so you can command premium fees and know who your ideal clients are and achieve that work-life balance, so you're not working 40, 80 hours a week anymore. And you no longer will have to negotiate on price or devalue your worth. So if you want to explore how to put an end to all of that and start to execute and not have the implementation gap and start to have new pathways in your firm, then you can go to theabundantcall.com, and my team and I look forward to speaking to you. So thank you again so much for being here with us today on the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It was an honor to have you. And once again, for those of you that own a firm, or if you're in a job and you're sick and tired of slaving away for someone else and you're ready to quit, then go to theabundantcall.com. And I'll see you in the next episode.